motion to, thank you. And ask for a motion to approve the agenda for the meeting.
So move.
Second.
Needed. Who seconded it?
Gerald.
I know.
Gerald seconded. Thank you. Are there any objections to us moving forward with the agenda? Have a motion and a second? If not, the agenda is approved for the meeting. I also need a motion to approve the minutes from the April 28th meeting.
Genevieve, let me ask you, I don't care, but are we supposed to have a roll call?
Thank you, David. I told you I'm not used to doing this, so I think we
Okay,
should.
I didn't want somebody to pull the rug on us.
You're absolutely right. Let's have a roll call. Jeremy,
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Gerald Takano,
Present.
Mr. Johnny Thomas. I see him. He's present.
Present.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Mr. Deontay Thomas.
I'm present. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sean Ingram.
Present.
Thank you. Mr. Greer Webb.
Present.
Madam Vice Chair Genevieve C. Sims.
present.
Madam Chair Sheila Alamin Khashoggi. And myself. Madam Vice Chair, I yield it back to you.
Thank you.
Jeremy, you
David
didn't
again.
call me. I assume you're going to let me be here.
Oh, Mr. Bland, I apologize. Sorry, sir. Please forgive me. Mr. David Bland.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir.
Going back to the agenda, can we get a motion to approve the minutes from the April 28th meeting? And I will say before that motion that David is the only one who submitted comments for a revision to the minutes. Did you make that revision, Jeremy?
Yes, ma'am, I did. Mr. Bland's revision were grammatical for the most part, and also a note on what Mr. Webb noted, and I just added it in. It's under.
Would you tell
It's under the police research.
Has everyone had a chance to review the amended minutes as they were sent out with the agenda for this meeting?
Move the approval.
All right. Is there a second to the motion?
I second that motion.
Okay, it appears that was Sean. All right. Are there any objections to the minutes? If not, the minutes are approved. As I indicated earlier, for those of you who were coming in just at 7, the chair is unable to be with us this evening, so I will be chairing the meeting. So let me give you an update on the police chief search as part of the chair's report. The panels have been constituted, and we are on the faith/community panel, scheduled to meet with some of the finalists on June the 2nd. What we understand at this point is that there would be only one person from the board who will be on that panel, and we're assuming that that will be the chair. If for any reason the chair is unavailable on June 2nd, then I would sit in for the chair. We have not been informed, but by reading the newspaper and other media, I have discovered, and I think most of you already know this, I know Greer knows this, that on June the 10th, there will be a community forum open to the public where people are invited to submit questions that they might have and wish to be asked of the finalist. There's a website that you can go onto in order to submit your question in advance. And it is highly recommended that you submit questions in advance if you wish to participate in that community forum. So that is the latest that I have on the police chief search. Are there any
Genevieve?
questions? Yes.
Initially, we submitted criteria which we thought would be important for the chief to have and adhere to. I think that we need to either revisit those criteria and structure them as questions or interview comments or whatever, so that you or the chair could or would have those, make sure that we're covered.
I would just tell you, David, in response that in talking with the consultant, all of the areas that we brought up on our list that we listed are
Yeah.
covered
Oh, good.
in question. They're already covered.
Great.
And so it would be something new, if anything, that we would bring forward.
Great.
Okay.
Madam Vice Chair Greer has his hand up.
Oh, Greer.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify 2 points, and thank you for that update. I really appreciate it. So firstly, only one member from our board, if you could just clarify, will be on this greater group, which is made of faith and community members. So there won't be any screening just by someone from our police advisory board and any candidates. It will be mixed in with, because I think, I guess my point of confusion was last meeting, we weren't totally sure. So we were thinking maybe our board alone, our leadership would get to speak with any of the candidates. And so is it just one member of our board on a greater Raleigh board that will be screening?
Okay, I'm sorry if you got that impression at the last meeting. It was never the intent that the entire board would meet with the finalist. That was never the intent. So I'm sorry if
No,
that
I'm
was
sorry, just to
conveyed.
clarify, not the entire board, but that, someone from our board would be meeting. I guess if you could just clarify how large the faith and community group is, or is it going to be 15 people? So we just be 1/15 of a voice? That's my question.
To be honest with you, Greer, I don't have the answer to that question. I will ask that question, however, but we have not been told that. The only thing that we've been told is, I'm sorry, we were not told, we were asked. We were asked if we were available on June the 2nd and that we would be on the faith/community panel. No other information was provided, but I'd be more than happy to follow up and to see how many people are on that panel.
Thank you so much. And my second point there is, do we know how many candidates we are going to be screening? Again, my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that the candidates for police chief would be semi-filtered down already when they got to these focus groups. And so do we know if you or Madam Chair Sheila will be screening one candidate or 5, anything like that? If not, it'd be great if you could get that for us.
The only thing that I can tell you in the information that came to the chair is she was asked to block off the entire day. And so that implies to me that there's more than one candidate that would be interviewed by that panel, but I don't know the number. And I will tell you that based on the information that we previously received, I believe that the people that we meet with will be among the finalists. They won't be, I don't think they'll be the finalists, but I think they will be among the finalists.
And just
Okay.
my last point of clarification,
Sure.
are you understanding how, before getting to these focus groups, the candidates have been screened? Is it just the consulting group alone that said, okay, here are focus groups, here are these 5 or however X amount of people, or were there other folks involved, not the consulting group and not this faith and community board, to whittle it down?
To the best, and remember, this faith and community panel is only one of 4 panels. Okay. The information that we had originally been given was that the consultant will do the initial screening and he will then present recommendations to the city manager, who will further screen, and then it gets to the 4 panels. Okay.
Understood. Thank you so much, Madam Vice Chair.
Oh, sure. Anything that I find out that's different, we will send to you in the form of an email as an update. Okay, so the question that you have about the number of people on the panel, I'll update that. I'll try to find out also whether or not all 4 panels will also be meeting on separate dates, because between June 2nd, when we are scheduled, and June 10, when they have the large community event, there's enough time in there for other panels to be meeting with these candidates. Okay. The other thing that you'll see on the agenda is we have been appointed a liaison from the city council, and that is Jonathan Melton. We found that out by listening in on one of the city council meetings. We have not received any formal notice, but that is how we know that Jonathan is our council liaison. So if you have any issues or anything that you want to have him examine, send him an email. He's open, as he's mentioned to you when he met with us last time. I think you have his email address. If you don't have his email address, we'll make sure that you do have it. When we had our retreat, we developed a budget for 2021, which is, and the budget was approved at $3,000. In that budget, we had $500 for speakers, $500 for media, $2,000 for publications. We have to spend money before the end of June. And so when you hear from community engagement tonight, they're going to give you their proposal as to how we can start to spend some of that money. Not all of that money can be spent by community engagement, but some of it, and probably the majority of it, could be. And the question is going to be whether or not we can do that by the end of the year. As I pointed out, I think in one email, I don't know if it went to all of you, the budget year ends June 30th. So any funds that we do not expend, we don't carry over to the next year. Am I right, Demetrius?
You are correct.
Okay. And so I think it is important for us to spend money. Otherwise, when we're putting together the budget for 21-22, which we would be doing at our retreat, we need to have a track record of having spent some of this money. Otherwise, how can we ask for more money? Okay. So I just throw that out there for your consideration.
Madam Vice Chair, Mr. Bland has his hands raised.
Who does?
Mr. Bland.
Okay, David.
Geneva,
David, if you call me Geneva one more time, I'm going to start calling you Donald.
God, I'm sorry. Genevieve, I'm going to do better. I promise. Genevieve, I was really sort of taken aback by the fact that we had such short notice on that we even had the money. I know that at the retreat, we proposed a budget, but I don't ever remember being told we got it. And I was totally surprised.
Well, you were aware that our work plan had been approved, weren't you?
Yes, I know that, but it's still, it didn't register that, and, you know, had we known that we were working toward a budget that was going to expire June 30, I think that at least the community committee would have certainly given more thought to and worked harder on our, and we could have gotten some things started.
Well, the only thing I can say, David, is when the work plan was presented to the city council, the budget was at the same time, and they were both approved. And so if I made an assumption, because that's when I assumed that everything was, approved and we would spend it. And my note to you all was just a reminder that we had that time to spend it. So just remember that in the future, when the work plan is approved, the budget is approved.
Madam Vice Chair, Greer wants to be recognized.
Greer.
Thank you. Just a clarification. I also, similarly to David, I knew we had the money, but I guess was a little concerned about the June 30 date. So after June 30, as summer continues to go on, since we only presented this work plan in, the spring, for the rest of the year, where are our funds coming from, or do we not have any?
We won't have any until the next work plan is approved and the budget is approved.
Okay, will that, to your knowledge, be about the same time as this year? Because that seems to leave a wide gap in many months that we could be working with money.
If you'll notice on the agenda, I have placed under new business, us selecting a date for our retreat, and our retreat is where we would develop our work plan and our budget. We
Okay.
got started late last year because remember we had to do that training.
That's right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr.
Any
Bland.
other question? Any
Yeah.
other hands up?
One
Mr.
other quick
Kennedy.
question. In terms
David?
of our 21-22 budget, when does the city council approve it? So when would our efforts kick in again?
Demetrius, would you explain that to us? Because I don't know the answer to that.
Yes,
Would
ma'am.
it, when would we be presenting our work plan for 21-22 to the city council?
Great question, everyone. I still forget that this is still a brand new board. I feel as though I've been with y'all for almost a year now, so I forget that a lot of these small details sometimes get often left out. So the way the fiscal year works within the city of Raleigh is July 1st to June 30th. So that's the time you have to spend your money. Most of the boards, their funds doesn't change. What they get is already allocated. For example, if a board gets $5,000, they're going to get it every year unless they ask for additional funds for something special. So if it's like a one-time event they want to do or something like that, they can make a request to council. Most of our boards and commissions do their retreat between like May to like July 1st, that summertime, so that going into the new fiscal year, they'll be able to be prepared to present their efforts to council. So normally like that May to July, they figure out what's going on, how they want to proceed, and then they'll be able to present either July or September. August, September, sorry.
So sometime in August or September, but if I'm understanding you correctly, we were allocated $3,000 this year, and we can expect to receive the same amount next year unless we ask for an increase.
Either the same amount or more because it was prorated. So I'm not 100% sure if it's going to be more because your budget didn't get approved until February, March, and they only left for about 3 or 4 months. So I'm assuming, I'm not council, I can double check, but I would assume they will either, they just prorated for that time. And I can get better guidance on that.
Could you please get us some guidance and send us an email about that?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I don't want to assume that it would be greater if it's not going to be, because that really does go into our planning. And do you think you'd be able to get us an answer to that question this week?
I can submit the question. It's just as soon as leadership able to get it back to me. It's Wednesday night, so it'll probably go out first thing in the morning. So as soon as leadership able to get it back to me, I'll be able to get your response back.
All right, thank you. And you'll send it to all when you get it, please.
Of course, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Genevieve, may I ask him a question?
Sure.
Demetrius, assuming that the board might approve our community engagement plan tonight, one of our efforts in there could be a pretty well structured expense for the brochure that we're talking about.
Mhm.
Does the city accept a pre-bill? Like if we got bids from printers and they said it's going to be, and we accept the one for $500, would the city council or would you all accept that as a pre-bill?
So we have contracts within printers already through our city, through the city government. So as soon as we have all the information, we can go ahead and push everything out for you and provide you with an invoice.
Great.
So let me, before we even get to that point, based upon David's question, let me back us up a little bit.
Yes, ma'am.
When we have the community engagement presentation tonight, they will be talking about some things that they want to do, which includes a brochure. Do they develop the brochure, or do they work with the communications staff for the city or with you to develop the brochure?
If they already have the information, we can just schedule a meeting and work through the layout and put everything together, and we can just go from there. If you already have the information that you want to complete in the brochure, I can schedule a meeting and we can just work through it that way. and I can work with the committee on that.
Good. Thank you, Demetrius.
Mhm.
All right. So any other questions regarding the budget? Communications, this is added to the agenda because we received some comments from community members that various items were not on our webpage. And there was some concern as to what was going on. Sometimes something was there and other times it wasn't there. It was like something would go on and then it would go off. Minutes have not been there. Videos are not there. Videos of our meetings, etc. So I communicated with Demetrius about this, and I wanted to inform you as to exactly what I learned. Part of the reason that our meeting videos are not posted as quickly as some of us would like them posted is because the staff that works with posting these things for the city is a very small staff. And so they're servicing the entire city, and we're just one little cog in the great plan. So it takes them a while to get around to posting our material. And that includes the minutes, the videos, and any statements that we make that we want posted. So for those people who are listening to us tonight who are not on the advisory board, I just want everyone to know that the city staff, our staff, equity and inclusion, is working with communications to try to get our things posted in a timely fashion. But there will always be a delay because we are not the only people that are the only board that the communication staff is responsible for servicing. Did I say that correctly, Demetrius?
Yes, ma'am. But just know we're all working diligently to get all the information posted up.
Exactly. Any questions about that? Okay. In our work plan for 2021, we indicated that we were going to review 3 RPD policies. And we have reviewed 2. Sheila sent to you, the chair sent to you around April the 28th, an email containing her review on body worn cameras. And so that is the policy that we wanted to look at for tonight. That is 1109-18. And this policy was effective August the 5th of 2020, meaning that was the last time it was updated. Under the body worn policy, uniform personnel at the level of sergeant or below are assigned the body worn cameras, and they are to be activated at certain times during all contacts involving actual or potential law violations, calls involving mental or emotional health crisis, weapons or violent incidents of violence, consent to search incidents, warrantless searches, initial inventory seized when it's like dollars are seized, and when directed to do so by a supervisor. Any encounter that becomes adversarial requires, after the initial contact with the officer, requires the use of the body worn camera. When 21 CP reviewed the actions of RPD May 30th through June 1st, they made certain recommendations, and those recommendations are found between 27 and 29 regarding the 1109-18. One of their recommendations was that RPD should review and revise this policy to ensure that its requirements regarding body-worn camera use and activation are clear within the context of situations involving protest, First Amendment protected activity, and crowd management. What we found in looking at, and what they found in looking at RPD's actions on those evenings, is that there were some officers who wore body worn cameras and there were others who did not. Officers had been told that it is against policy for them to wear and activate a body worn camera during a protest. But there were three things. The policy that RPD has does not clearly define what constitutes a peaceful and lawful event, a legitimate law enforcement purpose, or law enforcement functions. Those terms are not only not defined in RPD policy, but they're also not defined in the state statute 132-1.4a. As a result, the officers who didn't wear their cameras thought they would be violating the policy if they did it. And those who did wear their cameras did not think they were violating the policy. So the policy needs to be revised to be very clear as to when body-worn cameras should be worn and activated. There was also some confusion about where they were worn on the, when officers were wearing that turtle gear, that turtle protective gear. There was no place to hold them on that gear. And so some of the cameras only recorded audio and not video. One officer actually said that he wore two cameras pointed in two different directions so that he could record as much as possible. So in Sheila's analysis, she's indicating that, and have you all had a chance to review her analysis, by the way?
Yes,
It
but
was sent to you. Good.
yes, but
David, I'm sorry.
it wasn't clear to me what the italicized portions meant versus the other. What is that?
I think that what she was doing in the italicized portions is she was quoting from either the statute, or she was quoting from the general statute, or from the 21 CP report. That's what I see when I'm looking at the italicized portion of her report.
That's
Or
what
her
I see as
analysis.
well. The majority of the italicized portions are from the 21 CP recommendations, David, however many there were. And
Oh,
that's
okay.
what Genevieve is alluding to.
Exactly. And some of it is referring back to the statute too, the general statute. Okay. So there also recommendation number 28 speaks to RPD ensuring that it adequately addresses outstanding challenges with its body-worn camera system. And so that needs to be done. Recommendation number 29 speaks to the task force that RPD set up. I apologize. The committees that RPD set up. There's an equipment and technology committee that's been in place at RPD for a number of years that's tasked with recommending, testing, and evaluating authorized equipment, uniforms, and technology. A testing and evaluation committee was established when the body-worn camera program was set up by RPD, and that was May of 2018. It appears that there's some conflict based upon what I'm seeing. Dave, I'm sorry, Greer.
That's
Greer,
okay.
you
Please
had your,
continue. I'd like to hear your remarks.
okay, I'm sorry. In looking at what what she's written in her report is, she says that she finds it, I'll use my word, unusual that neither of these committees address the mounting devices for the protective turtle gear that was used. And so the body-worn cameras could not be effective when that protective turtle gear was used during the protest in May of 2020. So the technology issues that have arisen as a result need to be addressed. She's also recommending, and this is adopting recommendation from the Racial Equity and Social Justice Task Force that that body camera video be disclosed to the public within 45 days after an incident, and that civilian review boards such as us be allowed to review the videos to ensure that officers are not violating policies or procedures or civil liberties. I believe that is a quick and dirty summary of her report. Did I miss anything, anyone? Greer?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Just two quick questions. One for you, I guess, Madam Vice Chair. So with this synopsis, which I think was beautifully and accurately done, are we now in the position tonight, I guess, to maybe take further action and come up with some specific policy recommendations that we have for the city of Raleigh? And if so, I have some comments on that.
Well, that was something that is also being covered tonight, a little further down on the agenda, but that's fine. I don't mind deviating a little bit.
Oh, well, that's okay. I
have-
actually was going to
No.
ask. Okay, go ahead if we're ready to talk about it.
We have reviewed, or at least we have now analyzed 3 policies. There's a 4th policy that Sheila is going to be sending, the chair is going to be sending to you probably within a few days, hopefully before the holiday, on facial recognition software and RPD's use of that. And all of that came about as a result of RPD's contract with Clearview. So she wants to do that 4th one and have us talk about that at our next meeting. She wants to send that one out and have us talk about it at our next meeting. But one of the things that we had talked about was with the 3 policies that we have reviewed and with the fiscal year ending on June 30th, we should take those 3 policies and come up with, assuming that you approve the statement on body worn cameras, and come up with recommendations for RPD as to what we want them to do with the policies that we have reviewed. So yes, Greer, we would like to do that. We would like to do that before June 30th so that we can get that out.
Thank you. I had a question maybe for Gerald or anyone that knows. Could you explain to us, and this may be a question for our police liaison, who I don't, see one on the call tonight, but when it comes to the body worn cameras, what the current policy and the current operation of those devices are they automatic? Does the officer still get to choose when to turn it on when encountering a civilian? Could you help us understand, to your knowledge, Gerald, if you know?
I just got a brief overview of theirs, but yes, they have to actually activate it
Yes, they do.
when they're meeting the situation that requires them to do so. And so it's a physical activation of it. It turns on itself. If they forget to turn it on, they can recover portions of it for a short period. Does have a backup to it, but you might lose things like sound for it overall. So yeah, but essentially they have to activate it and deactivate it.
Yes.
And
we do not have the cameras that automatically activate when an officer
No.
steps out of his vehicle.
No.
Okay.
right, his or her vehicle, right. And I think that, Gerald, my follow-up to you is, when they do activate it, does that always include all of the audio of that encounter?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. If it's functioning properly, once they activate it, audio is synced up with the video
Yes.
and
Okay.
recorded.
Okay. So just to clarify, Madam Vice Chair, were you saying that we're going to take comments and recommendations for what our specific asks of RPD are at our next meeting, or tonight?
No, what I would like to recommend to you is that go back and look at the policies that we have analyzed to date and come up with your individual recommendations. Send those to the chair so that we can consolidate those and then forward them again back to the group for approval at our next meeting. Although I think that since our next meeting is so late in June, we really would like to do it before the next meeting so that we can prepare the document to send over to the city.
Is that something you can call a
RPD.
special meeting for?
Yes, yes, we could call a special meeting for that too. And remember, on the special meetings, we need at least 48 hours notice to the public.
Is that something that we need to actually, I guess, suggest tonight, or
Well, when you make
or
your
make a?
report, when you make your
I'm sorry.
report, I'm sorry, I apologize.
No, I'm
Sean.
sorry. What were you saying?
I was going to say that when you make your report, that was one of the things that I wanted to talk about, was having a special meeting.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
Madam
Okay.
Vice Chair, Mr. Johnny Thomas wishes to be recognized.
All right, Johnny.
Yes, ma'am. Y'all are aware that North Carolina's legislators have already put some things in place that kind of prevents or protects the police for giving the videos or the body worn cameras out. Maybe we need to take a look at actually what is North Carolina law before we can tell RPD what we want them to do so that we can be in line with each other. Because I looked at it after some other stuff that had happened, and another county had asked for the videos, and then it was a debate, I believe it was voted on earlier this year, where North Carolina has put some additional restrictions on giving out that camera information to anybody.
Well, that's in that general statute that we referred to earlier, 132-1.4A. The limitations on the release of the body cam. So I don't know what other statute, Johnny, you're referring to.
No, I just remember that they really limited and basically said they didn't have to do it. But I'll go back over and look again. I just think that whatever we do, we have to make sure that we are going along with that. That's the only thing I would question.
Well,
Yeah.
Madam Chair,
Yes, David.
I don't see, Johnny, that we have to go along with it. I mean, we could recommend that the city council take their legislative liaison and ask and support a change in that statute. I mean, we don't have to tell the RPD you got to do it this way, but if it's contrary to the statute, but we can say this is something we would like for the city council's legislative liaison to address.
And
I agree with
we
David.
can also follow up on Deontay. I'm sorry, go on, Deontay.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was just saying that I completely agree with Mr. Bland, and I think just other entities in the legislature are already trying to make these moves now. So we will be in agreement with these parties that see that this the statute and the laws that's written right now has been manipulated and it's not good for the public.
Amen.
Exactly. That doesn't keep us from making any recommendation that we want to make.
Right.
Exactly. Okay. Any other questions? Oh, is there a motion to adopt the statement that the chair prepared on body worn cameras?
Madam Chair, I'm wondering if we need to adopt this or if we're going to use it as you had recommended as a review of the relevant policy and come forth with a policy that we would adopt.
I'm sorry, go on, David.
This is just an information piece as I see it.
Do you wish it posted to our website? Is the question.
I can't make a comment on that. I don't know the pluses or the minuses.
I would not move to post this to our website just because, you know, not only is this on our public record now at this meeting, but it would be more in the interest of public transparency to post our specific recommendations to the police to any website or publication instead of just a synopsis.
I agree.
I think that would be more worthwhile, especially for the DEI office. They can wait until we have our special meeting and only do a one-time post versus this statement and then our bulleted points later.
Agreed.
But let me ask a question. Demetrius, did we post our other two policy statements to the website?
Yes, by
I
my
can't
understanding,
remember.
everything is posted to the website right now. Everything
That's
should
what I
be
thought, too.
posted.
And I'm not opposed to posting it just in the efforts of uniformity, but one of the things that was posted was a review of the 21CP solutions report and a review of Chief Deck Brown's report or rebuttal to that. And so we weren't really making a specific policy recommendation in there. And so I'm like David, I don't see one way or another, but I just don't think it would harm the public and those following our work to not post anything until we actually have the recommendations.
All right, how do the rest of you feel? Is there, Gerald?
I agree with Deontay and Greer in the most part that there are policy recommendations in her synopsis of what she gave to us that I think we better serve that we should after we adopt whatever policy recommendations we have and to post that as we give it to the city council as our recommendation, because we might have things that we decide as a group are counter to what she has as her recommendations, what she believes. So.
All right. Okay, anyone else? All right, so we won't post this policy, I mean, this statement by her on the police, on the body worn cameras.
Right.
That's fine. The next thing is we wanted to have a committee report on community engagement. And I have to say that we received an email on community engagement, and then this afternoon, something else came out that I haven't had a chance to read, and I don't know if anyone else has had a chance to read it. So when you're presenting on community engagement, Sean, do you have a copy of what you sent out this afternoon that you can screen share with us?
No, actually, that second version came from Mr. David. We was trying to get it where we can share it, but so I said we have two versions of it, but Mr. David said he's going to try to get it in a Microsoft form or PDF, and maybe we can send that out tomorrow to everybody.
So do we want, if that's the case, do we want to talk about community engagement tonight or put it off to the special meeting?
Because it'll be more probably trying to intertwine what Mr. David proposed and everything else together. I mean, a lot of it go hand in hand. I think it's just two different perspectives of what, ideas we all had. Because I just reached out to everybody and I wanted everybody to give input into what
I'm sorry,
tonight.
I'm misunderstanding something.
Yes.
Does your committee have a proposal to make to us on community engagement tonight? Or are you proposing that we move that to the special meeting?
No, we can make it tonight.
All right. Do you have anything that you can screen share with us tonight so that everybody sees exactly what it is?
I can. Let me figure that out.
And I can also do it, Sean, if you want to speak about it, and I can share my screen because I have it pulled up.
Okay, good.
Pulled up, Greer?
Great.
Yes, I'll share my screen now.
Good, perfect.
Madam Vice Chair Sims, the confusion, I think, we have two documents. One was unreadable in the format that Mr. Bland sent it. It was pretty much the same as what Sean is going to speak about content-wise. It just looked a little different. So we're ready.
All right, good. So if you'll put the screen share up then, and Sean, if you'll present.
Let me know when you have it up. Well, I'll just begin, and whenever you get it up, Greer, that'll be great. So first and foremost, our biggest things was community engagement definitely is a crucial role of our advisory board. Not only to inform and educate, but to also build better relationships of trust and transparency to our community. Now, what I'm about to outline, the scope of sequence has no defined order, but we do believe that, begin the process of informing and educating, we must first get to know our police department, our city council, and our community. I think that's one of the issues that we all had over. Yes, Greer.
Could the host please enable participant screen sharing or panelist screen sharing?
Demetrius, could you do that?
Try now, Greer.
Allow Greer to screen share.
Okay.
Talk about that, Greer.
Thanks, Demetrius. Can y'all all see?
Good deal. Thank you, Greer. Thank you, Demetrius.
Yeah, I can see.
And like I said, so this what we have proposed, as you see, like the bolded, the meet and greets, the community forums, the advisory board, town hall meeting. Now we have no informed idea of what should be first or what should be second, but these are just thoughts and suggestions of what effective community engagement forums should look like. Now, one of the things that may change, honestly, because I'm glad the information came in tonight about the budget, and being that we have to do this budget by June 30th now, I think getting the flyer, getting the promotional material out ASAP is really the priority at this moment. But the first thing, and like I said, we want to just bring this to the table. It's not just to say, hey, this is what we're proposing is said and done, but I did want to have this conversation tonight so everybody can have thoughts and opinions about it. But the first thing is, what is our end goal? What is our purpose? What is our position? What is our plan for community engagement forum? You know, like, honestly, what David sent me, to me, it's a different verbiage of talking for the police advisory board as opposed to my idea of letting the community have the voice. So, you know, we all have different ideas about community engagement. So I really want to do this tonight to start the conversation, to say, okay, what should our community engagement even look like? And Jeremy brought up a great point, but what is our end goal? What do we want to actually get out of this? What movement do we want to start? What, you know, do we want to actually help? Is it about the community's voice? Is it about the police advisory board voice? So some of the things that I created was just different events that we could have. So when you say meet and greets, the police advisory board will host a bi-monthly meet and greet to allow the opportunity for the police department, city council, and community to get to know our advisory board members. So that's us just saying, hey, we're having a meet and greet at, you know, City Club Raleigh on this night. And we're going to invite everybody that's willing to come out. We're going to invite the police department. Everybody that's willing to come, more than welcome to come. We want to invite city council because we want to get them to know us personally also. I believe in relationships. I believe that, you know, before you actually could trust a person or listen to a person, you got to get to know a person. Community forums. Now, this event is kind of different. This event will also serve an opportunity for the community to express their questions and concerns before a panel of RPD, city council, and leadership, and the police advisory board. The panel will consist of 3 panelists, 1 representing each sector. So the same way this event, I think you said June 10th, I think we should start doing our own events, not just being, you know, invited to events. I think we should start hosting our own events and having one, because the community do have a lot of questions. And I'll be honest with you, I've been at a lot of forums, and the community never get to ask the question, right? It's always a host or a facilitator, and they already have, to me, a pre-planned and a pre-orchestrated community forum. But the community never gets to really to ask the questions. And you maybe only have 1 or 2 people to get to ask the questions after it's all said and done. So to me, this is to be a true community forum where even if when they come in the door, they can already have you know, I think somebody said on our website, they can already have questions. So those questions, the facilitator and the panel can already be already understanding this is the questions that we're going to answer tonight.
Sean, I don't want to interrupt you. I don't want to interrupt your presentation, but we're running out of time. So can you speed it up some?
I sure will. And like, and so on and so on. And we can definitely send this out to everybody also. So these are just common events that I feel like we should be holding, not just going to, but also presenting from the police advisory board to just let our community know who we are, let our city council know who we are, let our police advisory department know who we are, and to bring all the entities together in one room. And especially now with being able to meet back in public some, I think this would be a great opportunity. As far as the budget is concerned, I just think we just need to reallocate a little bit. I don't think we need $2,000 in publications. And thanks for Demetrius for the understanding that, you know, the city can actually handle some of it. Madam Chair, I heard you say.
Here's what I was saying to you earlier. The $3,000 is not all for your committee.
Okay, great. All right.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm gonna interrupt you again because we really only have 10 minutes left to finish the meeting. Problem. When do you think you would you like us to put this on the special meeting agenda? So, or yes. So you all have more time to flesh this out,
Yes.
but we can also get something scheduled and done before the end of this year, this
Yes.
fiscal year. All right. Are there any questions about what Sean has presented?
Beyond
Johnny?
recognized.
Oh, I'm sorry, Deontay.
Yeah, and I guess this is for Demetrius. I think meet and greets are a good idea, but I think we need to meet and greet amongst ourselves first before we venture out into the public and meet and greet them, because we still haven't done that yet. So my question is to Demetrius is like, are we able to do that? And could our special meeting, is town council allowed to meet back in public in real life yet?
So great question. We are not meeting yet back in person. However, allow me to work on my end to figure something out. If you allow me to just give me some time to work that out, and I can provide a additional follow-up in the email.
And
No worries.
Deontay, I wasn't thinking about a special meeting being that far out. I was thinking about a special meeting being like within a couple of days of now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well,
Because we're running
that-
out of time. We're running
Gotcha.
out of time in terms of getting these things done.
well, even just looking forward, hopefully we can start meeting in face to face in real life pretty soon. So yeah, thank you,
Exactly.
Demetrius. Still,
Thank you, Sean. So we'll put that on the special meeting agenda.
So Gerald,
And-
did you have
and-
a question?
Yeah, I was just saying, for a special meeting, maybe you can just narrow it down, since I know our time is short. You'd like to get something into next month as far as one of those particular forums that you want. Maybe just select one of them that you want to do, and then a proposed general dates area. That way we just sort of, go with whatever you guys think is a good first choice.
Well, that's what I was sort of suggesting, that since they have different proposals and they haven't fleshed those out in their committee yet, that they flesh those out. And when we have the special meeting, then they can tell us, this is the one that we're going to go with. This is what our brochure is going to look like. Okay, because the brochure would even have to be approved. Sean?
I said,
you still
okay,
there?
yes, I said, that's fine.
All right, good. So how long do you think it'll take for you guys to flesh it out some more? How much time do you want?
We'll have it flushed out by next week.
I was going to say a week from today, we should have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe, and sorry, Gerald, I maybe missed the last part of what you were saying. Excuse me, Madam Vice Chair, a special meeting, maybe the week after that, to discuss the body worn camera recommendations.
No, I'm going to get to that. We're
Oh.
going to do it before then. We're going to do it before then. Okay.
Oh, before, okay.
Yeah, that's what I was planning. Anything else from community engagement?
All
All right,
right.
so we'll try to schedule you for a week from today. Sean?
Now, is this gonna be two separate meetings or all in the one meeting? Because I think I'm kind of confusing myself.
Okay. For yours, it was a week from today.
Okay,
But that's
I thought
not
you-
for a meeting, right? That's just when we're supposed to have our finalized proposal in, or you're saying we will have a special meeting a week from today?
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I thought that's what you were proposing, is a meeting a week from today.
I don't believe so.
no, I thought you were saying we were gonna have a special meeting and we would be ready at the next special meeting. We would have our stuff together a week from today.
Okay, so a week from today, we can expect your revised proposal. Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am,
Yes,
All right. And then the special meeting follows that.
right.
correct.
Okay. All right. On the facial recognition software, I've already indicated that the chair will have a proposal that she will be sending to us all, and I anticipate that she'll have that to us by next week. I indicated earlier that communications has a very small staff, and that's part of the reason that there's a delay in our materials being posted. I wondered if there was someone on the board who wanted to volunteer to work with our inclusion staff and the communication staff on the posting of our materials and the redesign of our website. Or are you happy with the way it is?
I mean, I can if need be. I have a graphic design background. I mean, but as far as the information, I would like for somebody else.
The only reason that the only reason I proposed the redesign of the website is that if you go on the website and you start looking for things like minutes, it's very difficult to find them unless you know exactly which button to push.
So I agree.
So I've talked to Demetrius about making it user friendly, and I didn't know if there was someone who wanted to work on that project with Demetrius.
I can do that. But that's all I'm saying. I would just like the information to come from somebody, you know. I'm not an editor or anything like that now, so.
Oh, no, not asking for that.
Want to make sure. Looking good.
So
I can do that.
if you'll work with Demetrius on the design of the website, that's all.
No problem.
Good. And then a retreat date. Now, Demetrius has already told us that the normally boards meet between sometime over the summer to have their retreats. So do you guys have a preference for a retreat date or month?
My only request is that I don't want to have a retreat if we can't meet face to face. I think the Zoom thing is fine, but we need to sit down and work ourselves out.
If we can't meet face to face, David, we still need to come up with a work plan.
Oh, I agree with
And
that.
to say that we can't do it unless we can meet face to face defeats the purpose, and we need to have a work plan.
I agree we need to have a work plan, but I would hope that Demetrius or whomever would do some magic so that we could at least meet 10 feet apart or something like that. I mean, it'd be better than Zoom.
Well, then let me suggest this to you. Why not sponsor a social, David?
I'd be happy to do that.
Okay, why don't you host a social where we can meet face to face? And we talk no business, it's just a social. It's just to get to know each other. And in the meanwhile, we pick a date for a retreat, whether it's by Zoom or whatever.
I'll do it.
Okay, good. So can I get your suggestions regarding a retreat date or month?
I would throw out the end of July, and that's just for personal reasons or just my calendar already being backed up. So that's me just throwing that out there will work for me, but I will work with whatever works for the majority of the group.
Okay. Any other suggestions other than the end of July?
Greer has his
Greer, I'm sorry, Greer.
That's okay. Thank you. I was just going to say the end of July works for me as well. And we can pick a specific date here in a second. I just want to make sure from Demetrius or you, Madam Vice Chair, that we're not losing a whole month of any type of funds or any type of benefit by waiting that late. I think the answer is no, but I just wanted to confirm.
Yeah, I think pretty sure that we're not going to miss anything based upon what Demetrius has said earlier. Demetrius, would you like to chime in?
Yes, ma'am. You won't be missing anything because also council normally takes a break during the summer as well. So it'd be perfect time just to get positioned for the first year going into the year. So I think you'd be completely fine.
Okay.
Thank you. So then I guess, sorry.
No, I was going to say, does anyone want to suggest a date in July?
Do we want to do it on a weekday or a weekend?
I'm going with whatever you all are going to suggest.
If retreat means typically a 9 to 5 day, I would prefer the weekend.
Okay.
And what about the 31st?
That was my proposal as well.
Is that a Saturday or a Sunday?
Saturday.
If Johnny can chime in, I would like it the weekend before the July meeting, actual meeting to have that. That's me. But I'll go with whatever y'all.
Has Genevieve frozen to everyone else?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, she's frozen. She should join right back in a second.
Okay, so I believe, Johnny, you're talking about the 24th.
Yes, that's what he was.
Before our meeting on the 28th. That would work for me as well. I actually now see on my calendar I have a conflict on the 31st all day, so I wouldn't be able to be present. So
24th is fine for me.
Works for
All
me.
right. Who couldn't do the 24th?
Looks like Genevieve is back. You froze on us, Genevieve, and
I
you're
know I
moving a
did.
little.
I know
you're
I
moving
did, and I'm
a little
trying to come
slow.
back.
That's
I'm
You're
okay.
back.
taking-
You're
You're
back.
back.
Oh, no, you're not.
Okay, I'll wait till she get back. But in the interim, you were looking at the 24th, because one thing you can do, we can create a doodle poll, and just send it out with the dates and times.
The 24th works for me. I think David, Demetrius, that would be helpful. But if anyone doesn't have conflicts, I think maybe we can send that.
Let's just decide tonight. Good Lord.
Yeah. Why is there any problem with July 24th?
No. And I guess the only issue, if it's a problem for our chair, then she can let us know ASAP. But otherwise, looks like we have a agreement here.
All right, July 24th from 9 to 5.
Do we need to vote on that?
Is there anyone who objects to it?
No.
All right, then we'll do July 24th from 9 to 5 for our retreat.
Now, before then, Demetrius could let us know if we would have the opportunity to meet together, and then if we do that, then maybe we could have sandwiches brought in, or we could each one bring a bag of lunch or something like that.
I think we can cover all those details a little closer to the date.
All right.
Yeah. But Demetrius, you'll see if we can get anything in person for that meeting also, or rather than Zoom. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now we've run out of time, but here's my proposal. We have an Elizabeth City statement. We have 3 different drafts of an Elizabeth City statement. I wanted to get that taken care of. Is there any objection to us doing a special meeting? Again, we got to have 24 hours notice, 48 hours notice for the public. Can we do that on Saturday? This Saturday?
I'm available.
We would need a little bit more time than 48 hours, especially for it to be on a Saturday. We would need a little bit more time. Because it's the holiday weekend, so it's going to be a little bit hard.
Could I propose something?
Sure.
I believe Deontay sent a most recent draft that incorporates Deontay, David, myself, and then some of Gerald's recent proposals. And so if anyone has any edits to his draft, could we make them and then present a final draft at the special called meeting that you are going to, propose in a week and a half to also talk about the body worn cameras, and we can put it on our website that day?
Well, let me ask you, were you all, for the people who are pushing on the Elizabeth City statement, do you want to wait a week and a half? I was only pushing it because I thought you guys were pushing it.
It doesn't bother me to do it all at one time. I think that makes a lot more sense for us to have all our proposals go out at one time.
I agree, and everything in there will remain relevant, as no charges were filed on the local level, but some of what we're asking for and what we've already discussed this meeting, that task force you mentioned, Genevieve, their proposals incorporated, and so that's something that will be long-standing. I'm also fine to wait a week and a half.
Okay.
But in that week and a half, folks that have issues with this most current draft, I believe, should be emailing Deontay, David, or myself so that we can work through that. And, Gerald, since he sent a draft.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. Now, are you all wanting to have a week and a half for both Elizabeth City and community engagement?
Yes.
I thought community engagement wanted a little bit longer than a week.
So to my understanding, and Sean can correct me, we needed a week to get our proposal together, which would then be presented and voted upon at the specially called meeting, at which we would also vote upon an Elizabeth City statement proposal and a body worn camera recommendation list to be sent to council and the police.
Correct.
Right.
So one meeting, 3 things done.
Right.
Time.
No, I'm sorry. It's more than just body worn camera policies, proposals. It's all of the policies that we've reviewed. We want to put together our list of recommendations.
Right, but isn't there something we're still waiting on from Madam Chair?
But that's a 4th one. Our work plan says 3.
Okay, do we have what were the other 2? I'm sorry, do we have synopses for those?
We've already agreed to them, and I don't remember off the top of my head, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So Madam Chair, are you just suggesting there might not be enough time for that? That's why you were suggesting 2 separate meetings?
Yeah, I was thinking that community engagement might need more than just a week and a half. I know you're gonna put your proposal together within a week, and then a few days later, you want to have it presented at the special meeting? Is that what I'm hearing from
I
you?
mean, we'll be ready, but
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
asking
think
you, do
we
you
need
think
more
it
time.
would not be enough time in that meeting? No, we will be ready, but
I
do you
don't
not
mind doing
think
it all. I don't mind doing it all in a week and a half. I just wanted to make sure everybody would be ready.
we will be ready?
I think the bottom line is that the community engagement effort is I mean, the Elizabeth City thing is just about finished. I mean, it's not going to take long for us to finish that together. But the real question is with community engagement, and Deontay said that we could get it done in a week to week and a half. So let's put them both on the table and go with it.
All right, so within a week and a half, we will have a special meeting and we'll get together with, is there anyone who has any conflicts within a week and a half? Any date conflicts?
Well, we need to pick the date. What is the date? The date would be the June the well, week and a half would be June the 4th. That'd be Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday, June the 4th, sometime that afternoon is, I'm open. That works for me.
Does
I'm
that
fine.
work for everyone?
I'm going to be traveling, but I'll make room. I'll make it happen.
I can make it work.
Demetrius?
It's all right with Johnny.
Okay, Demetrius, would that work for you all?
It should be. I can start working some things on my end. We typically try to stay away from Friday for board meetings, but I will ask if that could be something. Most participation happens during the week for board meetings, but I can see, just in case, tech support or anything like that, I'm easily able to get help during the week. But let me double check to see if Friday will be okay. If not the 4th, could the 8th work, that following Tuesday or Monday?
The 8th would work for me. Would it work for everybody else?
8th works.
So
Eighth works.
why don't we
I can
do
do
the 8th instead of the 4th? And that
That's
way we
fine.
don't have to worry about it.
That's great.
Okay.
All right.
And last thing for me, could you please, someone tell us the other 2 policies, just so I can make sure that I've done my work on researching, other than the body worn cameras, that we should be fully abreast of? Is that?
I know that they're posted on the website, Greer, but off the top of my head, I can't remember what the names of.
I think it was 1108-1 use of force. I forgot what the other one is, but
Yeah.
1108-1 I know was one of them.
So use of force was one. Okay. But if you check the website, they're posted there. Okay. So we'll have a special meeting on June the 8th, and you prefer the afternoon?
It'll be same time at 7 o'clock.
No, afternoon, not
Let's
PM.
do it in the afternoon because I'll be on the road, so I need.
Deontay, can you do the afternoon?
Mhm.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Why don't we say 2 o'clock then?
Sounds good.
All right. So we'll do 2 o'clock on the 8th. And we'll cover all of that. And I'll send out a reminder email about the body worn camera, the use of force, and whatever that third policy was. We'll do the Elizabeth City statement, and then we have community engagement. Is there anything else that we need to discuss tonight? Because we've run out of time.
I move we adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
can I get
Second.
we have a second to that motion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay, meeting is adjourned.
All right, everybody
Thank
send in
you
your
all.
suggestions.
I'm sorry. Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Good night.
Good night.